All right, everyone. Good morning once again. Thank you so much for joining us today for this virtual training and introduction to My Government Online, the MGO rollout that the City of Boerne, pardon me, is spearheading. We are going to take just a quick moment to introduce ourselves and the folks we have assembled here from the city side today. So my name is Tyler Kane. I am a proud member of the planning department, and I'm joined here today by Elizabeth Havala, our development coordinator, and we are also joined today by Ken Jenkins, who is our very masterful MGO representative, who will walk you through a lot of the functionality and capabilities that will be provided through MGO and offer you some very focused tutorials throughout the majority of our hour together this morning. So I want to really quickly set the stage for why this training is occurring, and we are very dutifully rolling out MGO here through the City of Boerne. So in 2024, we had a community survey throughout the City of Boerne, and it was conducted from December 9th through December 21st of last year. And there were nearly 1,600 completed surveys, and 75% of the responses we received of those 1,600 were from city residents, and 25% were from non-residents, but county residents who could still weigh in on the survey itself. The survey measured a variety of things, but focused on the following topics: city facilities, city quality and benefits, the topic of development and growth, safety and security, mobility, as well as infrastructure. So after we compiled and aggregated and synthesized all of the results from those 1,600 very substantive responses, we were able to extract some key themes. And one of the things that we extracted from those results had to do with the development processes here in the City of Boerne. We are aware that sometimes our development processes can be a little bit clunky, and we are striving to streamline operations each day here in the planning department. And so one of the things we took upon ourselves departmentally was to introduce a more streamlined software that is innately more user-friendly for both residents as well as members of the development community alike. So here's an example of one of the responses we received from that survey. The team at the permit office are very nice, but the permit process in Boerne is quite inefficient. This delays projects and adds costs to the citizens. Please consider how this can be improved. So we very much took that to heart, and we started looking for softwares, very robust and adaptable software that could be employed in the City of Boerne. And we are proud to join more than 97 municipalities throughout the state of Texas and over 400 municipalities nationwide in implementing My Government Online, or MGO. We formally launched MGO in the City of Boerne on Monday of this week, which was July 14th, 2025. And there will be future phases of implementations of MGO as well. So this first phase of the MGO rollout that we will be focusing on today, the scope of it was primarily for the commercial and residential building permitting process, as well as associated trades permits. But long term, we also anticipate rolling out planning and engineering permits, code enforcement and compliance, as well as fire inspections and fire marshal permits, along with one special events permit, which will ultimately be transitioned from our current system, SmartGov, to our new system, MGO. It's worth noting that if you are a contractor or a developer who has logged into this meeting and you're starting to get fearful, don't worry. If you have an active permit that is under review in our current SmartGov portal, it will still be processed through SmartGov. We are not asking you to duplicate efforts or transition that application to MGO. We will still honor it and process it in SmartGov. However, going forward, all new applications will be submitted through My Government Online. So there are so many benefits and assets to MGO, but they could not be better articulated other than anyone other than Ken Jenkins, who is our MGO rep here today. So I will defer the remainder of the time to him, and he will show you all of the various components and capabilities of MGO.
Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Tyler, for that wonderful introduction and for simply bringing us up to speed with how we've arrived to this point to implement the MGO platform and other aspects of the software that the City of Boerne has endeavored to and committed to bringing better customer service initiatives through the use of online platforms in the form of development services. So once again, thank you to all for participating today. It is indeed my honor to walk you all through the MGO platform today and make sure that you're comfortable with making this transition over time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show my screen, and then we'll go ahead and together begin walking through the MGO Connect customer portal. So one of the first things that you'll need to do uh, before utilizing the portal, of course, is going to be to create a new user account. And that is assuming that you aren't already utilizing the MGO Connect customer portal. So if you're already working in, for example, cities like Kerrville or San Marcos, Texas, or many of the other jurisdictions throughout the state, then you already have a customer portal account, and you actually want to use that exact same account because you're able to simply toggle between the various different tenants of the MGO platform. And there really are many, but those that come to mind that may be somewhat near the area would be several that are in the San Antonio area. And of course, the city of Kerrville is also nearby as well. So to access the portal, you'll simply go to mgoconnect.org. That is the website address. There was an older customer portal called mygovernmentonline.org, but you want to, if you've had some experience with that portal, you want to absolutely transition to utilizing this new and much more advanced version of the customer portal, which is at mgoconnect.org. When you arrive, you'll select the state of Texas, of course, and then you'll select the city of Boerne. From here, you'll go ahead and select Go.
And I'm sorry, Ken, would you mind sharing your screen for folks?
Okay, yeah, I did. I'm
Oh,
sorry, maybe, let's see. Apologies for that. Let me go ahead and try to share it again.
oh, good. I'm glad
Okay.
people can see his shared screen.
Was gonna say I
Probably
can
on
Oh,
my
see it.
end. Thank
Yeah.
you.
okay, fantastic, wonderful. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. Want to make sure that we certainly are presenting the information today for everyone. So let's go ahead and show you guys how you're going to utilize the portal. So, naturally, and I get it, you're going to be akin to wanting to go ahead and apply for online for a permit. But in some cases, many contractors, you're going to have a requirement to associate your City of Boerne license or local registration as a registered contractor with your customer portal account. So we want to show you that process first. Now, if you are attending with us and you're an architect or an engineer, and you primarily are only applying for, building permits, then in that case, you will have the ability to proceed with submitting that application. But certainly, the electricians, the mechanical contractors, the plumbers that are with us today, and there are other disciplines as well, swimming pool contractors, etc. You absolutely will need to take this first approach initially. To do so, there's a licenses link at the top of the menu banner. You'll go ahead and select licenses. And from here, there's a small possibility, but if your City of Boerne contractor registration is already linked to your customer portal account, which is really not realistic that probably is the case. But I do want to mention that if you do see your contractor registration kind of as I'm showing here with these examples, then technically speaking, your registration will already be associated. But realistically, you're probably going to want to, or need to rather, select Find My Registrations as shown here, so that the system can then search and locate your City of Boerne contractor registration. And of course, I have various registrations popping up for test purposes. I test a lot in the system, but yours, instead of saying Jenkinsville, it will say Boerne as the jurisdiction, and you'll see your name there, of course, and your contact details that are on file with the City of Boerne. By the way, they have provided all of the local contractor registrations, which we did import into the new MGO platform. So if you had already a contractor registration with the city, it should pop up here. And what it's attempting to do is to match the email address that you use when you created your customer portal account. It's trying to match with the same email address that's on file with contractor registration. And then it's just a matter of simply selecting that checkbox. And then at the bottom, there's a button that says Add Selected. At that point, you will have your license now associated to your MGO Connect customer portal account, and you can effectively begin applying for permits that will require that requirement. Now, for those that do not have an account established with MGO Connect at all, you've never created an account, it's a very new system to you, you will have to take, before that step we just illustrated, you will need to take the step of creating a brand new account. So there will be a new account link at the top of the screen as shown here. And then you will simply select Continue here, and then input your contact information, which is going to begin with your email address. You'll simply confirm your email address. You will select any password of your choice. There are no minimum requirements here. It can be letters, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, really doesn't matter, whatever your preference would be. And then you'll confirm your password and then provide your first name, last name, and business name. And then also, you will provide, your cell number is very common, but it could also perhaps maybe even be your work number. But this is important because the system will need to verify that you are a human that is creating this account. And this is our way of protecting the platform from various automation bots and other types of resources that developers sometimes attempt to use to mine data against all of the data that's on within the MGO platform. So this is going to confirm that you are a human. So you'll go ahead and select the telephone number type, and then you'll go ahead and provide that particular number that you want to provide. And then, of course, you'll go ahead and select the acknowledgement here, basically select that you're not a robot, and then you'll go ahead and click Create Account. And when you do create account, give yourself about 2 or 3 minutes and wait for a phone call, which is an automated phone call that's going to actually call your phone number that you provided here. You want to answer that call and then press 1 when it indicates to do so, which is going to be your way of indicating that, yes, I did indeed create this account, and that is going to now activate your account. Now, at that point, you can then, after your account verification is complete, you can go ahead and log in using your email address and the password that you provided at that time of creating your account. And now you're in, and then, of course, you can go ahead and go to the licenses link. And as I explained earlier, you could select Find My Registrations, associate your contractor registration record, particularly, again, if you're a roofer, electrician, mechanical, plumber, gas contractor, any of the trades, without a doubt, you will certainly need to do that. Even general contractors, you want to associate your registration because you also will need to populate your contractor registration at the time of applying for a permit. Okay, so now that we've created an account and we've associated our City of Boerne contractor registration, you can now effectively begin applying for permits online. It's really intuitive, very easy to utilize. Again, as Tyler so well communicated in the beginning, you have no worries here. It's the same platform used by, the city of Irving, Texas, Amarillo, Odessa, again, Belton, Harker Heights, you name it. It's about 97 cities and counties. Travis County is also another very long-standing customer of the MGO platform, and it's typically the contractors that really promote the platform more so than anything. And it's just because it's so intuitive and easy to really get a lot of transparency from the city or county that you're working with. So from here, let's go ahead and show you how to apply online for a permit. So you'll go ahead and select the option in the left menu bar to apply online for a permit. And then you'll select Get Started on a new application, particularly if you're applying for a new project and this is the first application that you're submitting, you would go ahead and select Get Started on a new application. Uh, the City of Boerne has done a fantastic job with indicating the various types of permits that you can apply online for. So sometimes we'll see the list as being a bit of a lengthy list, but that's a good thing, actually. It is going to give you the opportunity to qualify the type of project that you're submitting much more accurately rather than, just having one general application where the system's trying to kind of drill down into what you're actually applying for. So if you're only applying for a commercial parking lot, there's an application for that. If you're conducting a remodel to an existing building and adding to the footprint, adding square feet, there's a specific application for that. Whereas if you're not adding square footage and it's a remodel, then there's an application specific to that as well. And so on and so forth with your sign permits, solar permits, finish outs, etc. So everything is here for commercial, and then you'll have the like residential application types as well. Now from here, it's really very much self-explanatory, but let's go ahead and step through it. So we're going to apply online for a commercial new construction project. We'll go ahead and click open here. And then you're going to go ahead and provide the address of the property where that project is going to commence once you've received the permit, of course, and the zip code, and then simply click next. So that's the first step of every online application will always start off with an address or a location indicating the property where that project will commence. So now we need to click next so we can move on to step 2, which is going to be where we provide the contacts. So now for the contacts, this is where you will provide the various contacts that are potentially going to be required for the project. Definitely when we're talking about these commercial new projects, a lot of times they can be submitted by an architect or an engineer, and you may not have the contractor selected yet. However, we are going to make the contractor slot a required slot in the business name field. If you do not have a contractor selected yet, we're going to have a message presented here that says that will ask you to just simply type out to bid in the business name field as shown here, which will allow you to then proceed even though you may not have a contractor selected, but you do want to get the plan submitted so the plan review can begin while you're certainly working through that and working to obtain your contractor, which can be provided at a later time. Same thing with designer. Right now, these are required fields, but if they aren't applicable, we're going to have a message here, basically just write to type not applicable. Same with structural engineer. Again, certainly if this is valid and you have, but you do have those parties selected, definitely you want to go ahead and provide the correct information, their first name, last name, business name, as well as email addresses, telephone numbers, contact information. We want to be mindful to definitely provide that. But again, we do understand that there are these circumstances where you may not have those parties selected just yet at this time. And there will be a message up here to kind of reiterate that, just as a healthy reminder every time you're providing or submitting a application. Same is appropriate for residential as well. It may not request the structural engineers and mechanical engineers, et cetera. But if you're a homeowner applying as a contract, as to function as the contractor, rather, there will be a message where you'll put in here homeowner as contractor, so that you're indicating that you, as the applicant and property owner, are also functioning as the contractor. Whereas if you're a builder, you want to absolutely associate your contractor registration. And later on, I'm going to show you how convenient that is. When you do have a contractor registration, it will allow you to just simply select it, and it will populate that information automatically. I'll show you on a different application shortly. And then you would proceed to the next step, which is going to be the application questions, which are extremely well tailored to the application type you're applying for. So you'll go ahead and answer those various questions, things that you guys are all very familiar with. You apply for a lot of these projects all the time, I'm sure. So the questions are really going to be responses that you're going to be very familiar with, and you'll just go ahead and populate those various details as presented in the question. So I'm just going ahead and making a few selections here because they are required fields. And then you'll go ahead and select next. And then now the final step of the application process is step 4, which is where you will upload the various files that are going to be required. And they are itemized for you. So this is providing a high level of convenience, so that it's a checklist in all effect, to let to upload a drainage study, development report, traffic impact analysis, a project narrative, et cetera, et cetera. You'll just go ahead and provide those documents. Obviously, the construction drawings are documents indicating the construction of the actual building. And one thing that you can also do is, in the event there was an engineer that kind of made mention of this, but if there's some reason why a drainage study wouldn't be required, you can go ahead and make a Word document where you basically give an explanation why it's not required, so that you can then upload that to satisfy this requirement. So that's how you would get around a required file that, in your opinion, if you believe that it's not required for, the project you're submitting, you would just go ahead and upload something explaining, why that wouldn't be required at this time. And then basically that's it. You would go ahead and click next. I'm unable to do so because, I'd have to upload all of these files, but that's effectively it. It's really that simple. The last step is where it's basically just indicating that you're finished with the application, and you need to then simply submit it. And there's a submit button on that last step, where you would then submit the application, and then it would indicate that it has been submitted to the jurisdiction. At that point, you would simply just practice a bit of patience, so that the city staff can have an opportunity to review what you've submitted. And assuming all of it is complete, they will accept the application, at which time we'll then create your project number, and then you will receive an invoice from the software requesting that you pay any fees that may be due upfront prior to plan review, which is called the plan checking fee. And then you would be able to complete that payment online at that time. And then, of course, after you complete the payment online, the city staff would then begin the review of that particular project. So again, that will be facilitated very well. But depending on how busy the city staff is, that might take a couple of hours. It could happen, relatively quick also. But if it does take a day or so for them to do so, do not be alarmed prior to receiving that invoice. Okay, now you can also save your progress, which I'm going to do just to illustrate that. So if you didn't have all of these documents at this time, but you've started the application, you filled out the questions, and you said, okay, I want to come back and, I'm going to go ahead and go get this low impact development report. You can go ahead and click this save button here. And this will go ahead and save the application, meaning the jurisdiction still doesn't know about this. It's just in your court still, but you can always come back and finish updating it. And it does give you a temporary number, which is what we call an application number as shown here, which is APP-40. So where do you go to see that application so you can resume it at a later date? Well, at the top of the menu, there's a dashboard menu here. This is where all of your projects are going to reside, whether they're still just applications that have not been accepted yet by the jurisdiction, like the one we are showing here, which clearly it's showing you that it's unsent. You have not sent this to the jurisdiction yet. But at the time that you would have sent it to the jurisdiction, the color of this banner does change and it says sent to jurisdiction. And then it changes yet again. If they return this application back to you, it will say returned for review or returned to you for review. And it's a red banner at that point. So you'll see this variation in your dashboard if any of that were ever to be applicable. And then ultimately it goes to a green banner, but it will no longer show as an APP or an application number. It actually transitions, meaning the application literally disappears. It goes away forever because it's no longer needed, because it's now become an accepted and created project number. And it'll say project number rather than request like this. And the number is, something structured along the lines of the year, such as 2025 dash, 102, for the permit number or something like that. And at that point, you would be able to follow the progress, respond to comments, and we're going to show you all of those things today. But right now, I just wanted to really just make sure that you understand that your dashboard is where you, as the applicant, if you submitted the application, it will be available here for your to update it and review it, things of that nature. And then, of course, ultimately becomes a project where you can then, of course, follow along the entire process, request inspections, pay fees online. We're going to show you all of that. But basically, you would just click open if you needed to update your application. You would go into your file uploads, and there you have the same list again. You could upload those files at this time. And then once you would get that all updated, you then would be able to submit the application to the jurisdiction. So again, very intuitive, very simplified process for submitting an application online. Now, I want to go ahead and show you how you can follow along with your project once it becomes a project. But I want to show it to you from a different jurisdiction where I actually have a real project associated with my account. So I'm just going to go and show this from a different perspective, but it's the exact same functionality, which is the real advantage of the platform is that it really is providing somewhat of a regional system in your area where more jurisdictions can get on board, and you know the system. You already have an account. You understand how it functions. Yeah, they may have slightly different requirements, but at the end of the day, it's really neat that you can manage all of your projects as long as the jurisdiction is using the MGO platform. And such is the case with even this jurisdiction, even though it's way in Florida, all the way out in the state of Florida, rather, you can go ahead and you could effectively use the system there as well in the exact same manner. So I'm going to go to the dashboard just to show you some of these differences and how that information would be presented within your dashboard. All right, just a moment here. All right, very good. So now from here, this is what your dashboard could eventually end up looking like as you're working on various projects with the City of Boerne. As you can see, we have an application here that's been returned for our review, like I was explaining earlier. We have another different application that shows that it's sent to the jurisdiction. This is what it would look like if you've sent it and the City of Boerne still needs to accept the application and turn it into a project. So just wanted you to see how those will jump out at you, and it will be very visible to you for those different situations. And then ultimately, this is what one would look like once the application has been accepted and it transitions into a project. And you would see now that it is under review, and you could effectively follow along with the entire project progress. So I want to show you that by looking at one of these other projects, and also show you how, when you receive your invoices, how you can pay online. So let's use this one as an example right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go into that particular project. As you can see, it's going to give you largely what the city has available for you to see. If you think about it, you don't go to the bank to ask what your bank balance is anymore in your checking account. Nor do you ask, what transactions have cleared, what deposits you've had. You can see what they see. Same concept with the MGO Connect app for your mobile phones, or the website that we're doing this demo with for you today. We're not saying you can't call the city staff, but it saves you a tremendous amount of time when you just have this great self-service tool where you can go look at those details. So as you can see, for any project, of course, we have our project number here. We have the project address as shown here. And at the top, you have these tabs. And these tabs give you access to various details. The first one is just an overview of the project itself. There are some shortcuts at the bottom down here that you can jump straight to paying fees online and some other types of details. But the contacts tab, this is where you're going to see all of the contacts associated with the project. You could clearly, with this particular project, this is the main contractor, which is a builder called GRBK GHO Homes. And we can see the status of their contractor license, which is active at this time, and then any other subcontractors. So if you're the builder, this is the one, in my opinion, when working with the City of Boerne, and they were explaining some of the goals they had for the new platform. This is the one tangible big value you are going to receive if you're a home builder or even a subcontractor, is the fact that one project is going to contain all of the parties. You won't have separate permits for the building permit, but then it's a completely separate project number or permit number for the electrical work, the mechanical work, plumbing work. With the MGO platform, it's one project, and all of those subcontractors and respective permits are associated. They really aren't even associated. They're really a part of this one project number. So now a home builder can manage the entire list of subcontractors that he is working under that project, as shown here. Uh, the next tab over is the task tab. This tab allows you to see immediately the inspections tab, which would be any current pending inspections that you may have requested that are working in progress to be inspected. And coincidentally, this project does have a scheduled inspection for today, which is this electric permanent power inspection. And then you can see the completed inspection. So all of the inspection history is available to you, where you would be able to see all of the history of all inspections that have been conducted, encompassing all trades. So notice that you don't have to go, look at a different prod permit number to see, where the plumbing's at, where the electrical's at. Everything is all under one project. So that, again, that's that one big tangible take it to the bank, evidence of value that the city of Boerne is seeking to bring to the building community. And then this tab called requirements, this is the workflow of the permit. And earlier, you'll perhaps recall where I meant transparency. This is where you're going to be able to see where you're at on any given project, but even more so where you're going. So you can see what are going to be the next requirements in what we call stages of the project. So by default, when you view this requirements tab, it's set to only show the current stage, which right now would show that they've had their drywall and now they are working on getting their electric permanent power inspection, which we just saw is actually requested coincidentally for today. So it is scheduled to be done today. And when it does get completed and passes inspection, they will move on to the next stage. But how can you see all stages? Well, if you change and expand all requirements here and use this toggle, you can see all stages. So if you were even at the very beginning of the project, way back in stage one and stage two, et cetera, you could see at that time the different departments that are involved in the plan review. And I know this is a different jurisdiction, but the concept is exactly the same. And you would see those that are still haven't completed the review and those that have. And even beyond that, you would see, after plan review that you're going to require certain fees to be paid, and then the permit is going to be issued to you. In fact, the system is so intuitive at this point that once the fees are assigned to the project after plan review and the system sends you the invoice for payment, you'll notice these little auto labels. It is letting you know that basically when you pay the fees, the system's going to automatically issue you your permit. That could even be 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. So, you can get your permit at that point in time. And then now it's very informative to let you know what the requirements are going to be even following permit issuance. So we can see we're going to need a notice of commencement. We're going to need a form board approval and plumbing underground rough-in inspection, a slab pre-pour, and on and on and on. And even after the current stage, you can even see what's coming up in the next stages, building final, and then of course, on and on until you receive your certificate of occupancy for the project. So again, there's going to be a tremendous amount of automation. And again, I just love the transparency that you guys are going to have access to so that you're not in the dark. You know exactly what the requirements are from start to finish. And if you see something there that you believe may not necessarily be required or shouldn't be there, you can then ahead of time before it becomes a problem, contact the city to inform them of that and work that out. Then you have your fees tab. Your fees tab is where you can see all of your payment history and if you have any fees due. And it will actually even list out those fees that are due, such as re-inspection fees and revisions, things of that sort. But if you go to the payments tab here, you can even print receipts of previous payments you've made. Perhaps you may need that for your accountants and you've lost those receipts and things like that. Once again, self-service, you can access it whenever you need to do so. Just simply select print receipt and the system will go ahead and generate you another copy of that receipt so that you don't need to get in touch with the city to access that. And to complete a payment online, you just simply select the fees that you want to pay, and then there's a pay online button at the bottom. For the City of Boerne, it's actually even more enhanced. You can pay with a credit card, or there's a second option in this payment method field that you can opt to select also ACH, which is the electronic check version of paying online, where it will be performed as a bank draft securely without having the credit card processing fees for that type of transaction. So they tend to be less transaction costs associated to processing those types of larger, particularly for larger ticket payments. when they're going to be thousands of dollars or anything like that. The e-check will save you some fees, of course. And then finally, the Documents tab. This is the tab where you can upload documents to the jurisdiction. So that's the Submitted tab here. And this is where you can select Add New File and then simply choose the file from your computer. This is where you would upload your form boards, your elevation certificates, notice of commencements, anything that, during construction that you need to provide at that time. You would just upload those documents. Even we're actually going to be providing a different method for that, but you also will be able to even apply for plan amendments and revisions, as well as response to comments as well. There is going to be a different link for that, but this link would be more for your form boards, your elevation certificates, those types of documents that are kind of, just along the lines of, hey, before you can get a certain inspection, you'll need to provide that. And then there's a jurisdiction tab also under the documents tab. This is where you can access any documents the city has released to you. That could be plan review letters, of course. This one doesn't have any, but of course, your plan review letters would be there. You can actually generate other types of documents, such as, a copy of your permit again. You can actually access a copy of your approved plans and drawings. Those would be down here in the released fees. So if you needed to reprint a copy of the plans that need to go at the job site, just go ahead and select download, and then the plans would go ahead and download for you, so that you could go ahead and have a new set of those plans printed. We know how those things happen. It rains, they get muddy, they walk off. Again, you can just reprint a copy of those whenever you need to do so, and then go ahead and have those replenished to be placed at the job site. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to also go ahead and show you how you can, as a subcontractor, you can apply for a trade permit, but now it's going to be really neat that you're able to associate that permit with the actual building permit. In other words, you have what's called standalone trade permits, which would be for things where a building isn't being constructed. Maybe you're just doing a rewire in a house, or perhaps replacing a water heater or an AC change out. Those would be what we call standalone trade permit applications. So to apply for one of those, you just would go ahead and apply for a permit, and you would use the get started on a new application option. Because it's just a new application, it's standalone, not associated with any other building construction work that is occurring. And let's just say that's going to be an electrical permit. Well, you would go ahead and select the commercial electrical permit application, or the residential version if it's residential, of course. And then same idea, you would just go ahead and provide the address of the property, and then you would, of course, provide the contacts. But notice how the contractor is a required field. You are going to be required to associate your contractor record, which is being presented to you, if you've linked your contractor registration with your customer portal account. That's the only way you're going to be able to apply for your trade permits, is if you have your city registration associated with your customer portal account, like shown here. Even if you tried to just type in these fields, it is not going to allow you to proceed, because you must associate it from your city registration. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And this is how it will appear to you very conveniently. All you'll do is just click select, click this little circle or radio button, and then click select, and it will then associate that license as shown here, so that you can then proceed to the next section of the application. And then it's really just going to be a matter of a description of the work, signature of the owner, contractor, or agent. There is a disclaimer here. What this is basically, all it's saying is that in the section upcoming, You're going to have to put in the fixtures and quantities for the electrical work, but you won't be prompted to pay immediately. And that's intentional because the staff will need to just review what you've submitted. And then following the submittal of your application, just as it is with a building permit, you will receive an invoice where you can then go ahead and pay that fee online, and then the system will go ahead and issue the permit at that point. So if we proceed to the next step, this is where you would upload any files. Typically, those aren't necessary for trade permits, but there is a spot there just in case where you can upload a document. And this is the section we're talking about. It's the only additional section that U.S. trade contractors will see because you do need to indicate, that the particular quantity, you'll select the fixture, and then you'll input the respective quantities that are needed for the work that you're conducting. Same thing here. It's just a matter of just inputting those values, just as shown here, very straightforward. And then at this point, you would go ahead and click the calculate button here, which that is actually not going to calculate a cost because you're actually not going to be paying any fees up front. So it's actually not going to give you an estimated cost. You will receive an invoice separately from the software with the exact amount due at that, and that's when you'll pay it at that time. The invoice, by the way, does also indicate, how to access your dashboard and complete the payment online and those types of details like that. And then it just is a matter of you going ahead and then submitting the application, and then you would just wait for that invoice to come, and then you'll go to your dashboard at that time and complete the payment online. Now, that would be a standalone permit, real simple and easy, but we want to make sure that it's communicated how neat this approach is going to be, where for your trade permits, that is associated to a larger building project. So, you're working with a builder and you have homes being built. You do not want to submit those as separate applications. You want to use that option called submission to an existing project. And then at that time, you basically just have the same types of trade permit applications for commercial projects and residential projects as shown here, respectively. And then all you need to know at that time is going to be the actual permit number. And that is how you're going to be able to now submit the application and have it associated to that same project number. Everything is just going to go directly under the same project. So you guys are all for that one structure working out of one project. And so is the city, which is just going to make the transparency and insight for all parties just profoundly improved. And then from here, you would just click open. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get beyond this point because we don't have an actual permit in the system that has been issued yet. The building permit does need to be issued before you can apply for the trades that go under it. But we're going to just give it a try. So I'm just going to input this permit number and then click search. And then at the bottom, it does tell me that, yes, that is a project that has been submitted. It's actually our first one that has been submitted for a building permit online. But as you can see, it's telling me the project is still under review. So you wouldn't be able to apply for the trade permit until the building permit has been issued. But it's real straightforward. It's just like what we just saw a moment ago. You would just have a button here where you can go ahead and select and proceed, and then everything else is the same. You would do the fixtures and quantities. You wouldn't have to provide an address or anything because it's already a known address. You would just really all you really are doing is just associating your license as the tradesman for that respective work, like electrical construction part of it. And then you would do your fixtures and quantities, and then you would submit it. It's even easier than the standalone trade permits. And then at that point, you would again receive that invoice, complete that payment online, and then at that point, now that project is cleared for the electrical related inspections that are going to be performed under that project. Just as a last mention, with we have about 5 minutes or so remaining, and then we'll take some questions. But this is only going to take about 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll take questions. Just to show you how intuitive now that all of the trades work will be associated with that one project. I want to show you this feature when you're requesting inspections online, how this will also let the builder know if they can request that certain inspection type, and or if it will indicate why they cannot. For example, if you haven't pulled the trade permit yet, then of course it won't allow them to request that type of inspection, etc. But let's go into this particular permit. We're going to go into the task tab like we did earlier, and then we're going to go ahead and select new request. This is how you request an inspection online. From here, you'll have a drop-down list of all of the various inspection types that are applicable for the project. And you'll notice, let's go ahead and scroll down a bit. You'll notice that there are some blue buttons that are presented next to some of the inspection types. Let's just use this building final as an example. Well, when you see that, that's basically, and it's grayed out, it's basically saying, hey, you can't request this inspection. But the tool is so intuitive that it doesn't just say you can't. If you click the blue icon here, it explains why. So it's giving you more information and educating you on the reason. So once again, you really don't need to really go through a whole lot of calling the city to try to understand these things. And in this case, it's saying that, hey, the inspection cannot be scheduled until the project is in stage 18. Well, clearly we're in stage 17 right now, so that's calling that to your attention. And then the other reason is because it's saying that there are fees that must be paid prior to scheduling this inspection, and that's because this jurisdiction, this project rather, does have some reinspection fees due, and they require that before the building final can be requested. This is dynamic. It'll tell you if the reason could be various reasons. It could be that the sub hasn't pulled the trade permit yet. The associated tradesman has an inactive license. He's become inactive since applying and obtaining that permit, and that would also prevent you from requesting that inspection until they get their license resolved with the city as well. So it's very insightful, intuitive, and educational, and just bringing these things to your attention so that everyone is informed. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take some questions. I want to just say thank you again for the opportunity to be of service to you. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a software analyst. I've been with MGO for 14 years. It'll be 15 in December. And I love working with cities just like the City of Boerne. You guys really have a great staff here, and they really have a heart to want to provide the most exemplary service to you guys in the building community. With that being said, we'll open for questions, and I'll let Tyler take over as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. I did see one question come through our chat during your demonstration, and it reads, can you add a contact after the application has been submitted and is a project/permit?
Yes, it is. That's a great question. And a project number becomes the permit number. So they are one and the same. We refer to it as a project until it's a issued permit, if you will, but the number stays the same. It's all the same. And then the other answer to that question is that you are unable to add a contact yourself after the fact. And we are going to implement a process for you guys to provide those contacts through the software by uploading a document. So that's something that we are currently working with city staff on, which is why we didn't want to adversely impact your current projects as we work through some of these minor business practices we call in concert with using the new platform. So that's going to be some sort of subcontractor affidavit or document where you guys can inform us of who the contractor is and you'll just upload that document, and then city staff will populate them into the project. Thank you for that question, by the way. Those are great questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. We have another one that says, as an architect, in order to connect our license to our portal account, is it the same process as shown for trades?
Fantastic. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I do know that it does look like the city, and I am a little ignorant on some of the details with how they functioned prior, but it did see in the data, I did see that there are some architects in their contractor database. So that's a good thing. And even new architects, perhaps if the city wanted to continue doing that, they could then register as an architect in the contractor database so that they could have a registration as well. There's nothing wrong with that at all, and that's a great mention for that you bring up there.
All right, I have one more. Would you quickly show us how to update our registration when our license expires?
Sure, I'd love to. So what you're going to do there is, so let me go back to Bernie just very quickly here. So what's going to happen is the system is going to send you an email automatically. It's automated 30 days prior to the expiration of your contractor registration with the city. So whatever date that is, I know they have every month, various contractors are have different expiration dates. But what you'll do is that notice that you receive, it actually explains this. It gives you those steps directly in the document itself. But basically, you'll use this link called Renew Contractor License and just follow the steps in that document. You'll go in here. It does say search by project number, but basically it's going to be the license number that's presented on that particular notification letter that you receive. It's in bold print. It jumps out at you, so it's right there. And then you'll go ahead and input that license number here and then bring it up by clicking search. Now, I don't know one at the moment that I can utilize, but I'm just gonna take a stab in the dark here and maybe get lucky and maybe pull up an existing contractor record. So there we go. All right, we can use this one right here, Sweet Electrical. But that's how you'll do it. It'll be a number that looks like this on that notice that you receive, and then you'll go ahead and select that record, and then you'll put in your contact information as the renewal applicant, and then click next. And then it's really just a matter of you uploading a copy of your driver's license, your updated master license, and your certificate of liability insurance. So that's really all the city will be seeking from you at that time so that they can update your contractor license record. And then you'll just go ahead and submit that to the city. And when you submit it, just like a project, they're going to process it. And then if there's a fee due, you will receive an invoice after the fact to pay that fee online. And of course, once you complete the payment online, your license is then active, or it will continue to be active for the new period, so that you can continue on functioning under your existing registration. But you will get that notice from the software, and it's basically this link right here, renew a contractor license, and it's step-by-step instructions of what I just illustrated. Thank you again for that question. Again, that's really worthwhile. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. We have been together for an hour and 1 minute. We'll consider this a last call for any lingering questions for this virtual training. Otherwise, you can reach out to the planning department via email or over the phone anytime. All right. Not hearing anybody come off mute and not seeing any questions pop up in the chat. Just want to thank everyone today again for attending and for participating in this training, and we hope you have a great rest of your day and that MGO proves to be a fruitful and easy transition for you.